day of the Shield match at the Adelaide Oval, looking to clean up the Queensland tail end after an improved performance. The visitors got off to a dismal start, with Dennis Hickey taking 4 wickets for 89. Young Matthew Hayden and veteran Greg Ritchie staged a batting fight back, but the local side recovered to have the Maroons 9 for 313 at stumps.
South Australian captain Jamie Siddons took a gamble by sending in the visitors, but the start looked more painful for Queensland. The early breakthrough came Dennis Hickey's way. Chris Owen took the simple grab. Opener Matthew Hayden held up his end of the bargain in stylish fashion. Shield nomad Dirk Wellham came to the crease. The visitors looked dangerous. But then the rot set in. Hickey struck again, sending Wellham packing. Australian captain Alan Border strode confidently to the crease, but one ball later he knew he was gone despite a hesitant umpire. Finally some runs for the Maroons through youngster Stuart Law. But he'd made just 12 when Hickey claimed his 4th scalp, Queensland 4 for 92. Just when they were taking command, the South Australians let the visitors off the hook. Greg Ritchie provided solid support for Hayden as the youngster notched up his 6th half-century of the season. The pair added a ton of runs. The elder statesman went wild. The situation was turning desperate, so Captain Siddons took desperate measures, calling on young batsman Greg Blewett. But he served only to aid Ritchie to a well-deserved 50. The duo looked rock solid until the partnership crumbled with a heartbreaking mid-wicket mix-up.
Out for a disgraceful 130. Craig McDermott was the main destroyer with 6 wickets. With a first innings lead of 204, the visitors were 1 for 148 at stumps.
Queensland resumed at 9 for 313. Yesterday's bowling frustration spilled over to the morning. Young paceman Greg Rowell belted his counterparts, heading close to his maiden first-class 50. But minutes later, the Maroons' innings ended as Rackerman surrendered the side's 3rd run-out. Queensland all out for 334. The locals started dismally as the Rackerman-Rowell combination did more damage. Hilditch out for 5. Jamie Brayshaw came to the crease but departed just as briskly after contributing just 1 run. McDermott's aggression almost put him on a hat-trick. Just recovered from a broken jaw, Siddons was hesitant. McDermott had done his homework, the captain going for a duck.
He's out.
The International Cricketer of the Year bent his back and continued to reap rewards, South Australia reeling at 4 for 27. That soon became 5 for 44 when Rowell struck with his first ball. Opener Greg Blewett battled on to 34, but McDermott was on the rampage. The tail end fell like 9 pins, first Nielsen, then Sleep. McDermott 6 for 39. Captain Rackerman chipped in, grabbing the last 2 scalps. Border took a spectacular grab to close the innings, with the home team making just 130. Troubled by a leg injury, Rackerman surprisingly failed to enforce the follow-on, but his openers soon settled in, slaughtering the local attack. Hayden and Barsby both passed 50 to set the home side an impossible task. Vicky Jobe, National 9 News.
Welcome back. And South Australia has fought back strongly in the Shield game against Queensland at the Adelaide Oval. The visitors declared shortly after lunch, setting the home side a target of 506 to win. At stumps, the locals were none for 204, with Hilditch and Blewett both scoring half-centuries.
They've been touted as having the strongest batting lineup in the competition. This morning, the Queenslanders lived up to it. Dirk Wellham continued to embarrass the struggling bowlers. Finally, Dennis Hickey made a breakthrough.
That's out.
Matthew Hayden belted his way to 80 runs before Tim May snared only his 13th wicket of the season.
It is.
Stuart Law and Alan Border set about rattling the pickets.
That's 4.
The Australian captain was back in form.
Well, that's a good shot.
A sprightly 46 off as many balls before Scuderi found the edge. Greg Ritchie got off the mark in stylish fashion. At lunch, the visitors were 479 ahead. The slaughter continued after the meal break. The visitors declared at 4 for 301, giving South Australia a chase of more than 500. That seemingly impossible target was welcomed by the local openers. A brave fight back had begun. Blewett and Hilditch both got among the runs. Not even the mighty McDermott was spared. After 92 minutes at the crease, Hilditch's gallant effort was rewarded with a half-ton. The former captain mastered the attack. This was his 8th boundary. At the other end, young Blewett was more than holding his own. He scored his own 50. A draw was becoming a distinct possibility.
Hitting a big century. Sam Parkinson, always been a fine left-hand bat. That's a beautiful shot there. And that could go all the way. A beautiful shot, that'll go all the way. It doesn't, they should run for.
Other 4.
First wicket. Good shot. Cleared the man out from close in. And it'll go to the fence before. Beautiful shot.
Queensland declared at 4. That is a good shot.
That's 4.
Now the heart would be beating. Just a
Sport
little.
report is next, and Kim, what a sensational end to the Shield match.
Kevin, the best. What a fight back by South Australia. The South Australians have created Australian cricket history. We're back with the highlights right after this. South Australia's Sheffield Shield cricket team has made history. It's pulled off a miracle by winning a match after scoring more than 500 in the final innings. It happened in the clash against Queensland at the Adelaide Oval, with the winning run scored just moments ago. The South Australians are now the first Australian side to achieve the feat and only the 5th in world cricket.
South Australia's bid for the record book had a disastrous start. Greg Blewett denied his maiden century, tricked by McDermott on 98. But moments later, Digger Hilditch made it, his 2nd ton for the season and 17th for South Australia. After that, the Queensland bowlers were right on the mark. Needing just over 100 a session, our scoring just wasn't fast enough. It wasn't until just before lunch that Hilditch and Brayshaw were able to hit out. And at the break, we had a foundation, 1 for 276, needing another 230 with 9 wickets in hand. Unfortunately, it became 8 soon after lunch when Hilditch departed for 137. And 14 runs later, Rowell scattered Jamie Brayshaw's stumps, triggering a collapse. David Hooks came out for one of his most important innings. On 3, he was given a life by Border. But just 2 balls later, the Australian captain made amends. And when Scuderi went for a duck, South Australia had lost 4 for 33 since lunch, and McDermott had 10 wickets for the match. But the home side turned it around in the final session. Needing 151, Peter Sleep launched the chase. He was then dropped by Greg Ritchie, who was made to regret the blunder almost immediately. Jamie Siddons kept the all-or-nothing effort going, racing past 50 with consecutive 4s. Now even McDermott was coming in for punishment, as the South Australians threw away the coaching manual, narrowing the gap to 75 with an hour to go. Our hopes took a nosedive when Siddons was bowled for 87 after a partnership with Sleep of 52. But Sleep and Nielsen went on with it, clinching the win and the record and ruining Queensland's chances of grabbing top spot on the ladder. Tony Morabito, National 9 News.
Australia has scored an almost impossible outright victory over Queensland in its Shield match at the Adelaide Oval. The locals were forced to set an Australian first-class record if they were to win the match. Jamie Siddons, Peter Sleep, Greg Blewett and Andrew Hilditch did just that as they reached the 506 runs required. The wickets were falling around him. Captain Jamie Siddons was doing his best. When all looked lost, Peter Sleep came to the aid of his skipper. The pair punished the Queensland attack, both making fine half-centuries. But Siddons, when on 87, was clean bowled by Carl Rackerman after a superb innings. It then became the Peter Sleep show. And now, the winning runs. Well done, Sleepy. John Casey joins me live from the Adelaide Oval. And John, full credit to South Australia, but I think it'd be fair to say only Queensland could have mucked that up.
Well, you wouldn't believe that South Australia could get that many runs to win the match, Max, but they did it in extremely good fashion. Full credit to our batsman, young Greg Blewett did extremely well. He and Hilditch put on 200 foundation, which was great. And then what a role from Jamie Siddons. He's had a pretty peculiar year, we'll say, as in his first year as skipper of South Australia. He came good today with the runs when it counted. 87 he got. They were still 38 short when he went out, and it was left to Peter Sleep in his testimonial year. What a way to finish the match.
OK, thanks.
Sleep to continue the run flow, and they did. And with 2 balls to go, South Australia had pulled off one of the greatest cricket victories seen in the Shield competition.
That time we did, and showed the people of South Australia that we're a good cricket side, not just a pack of blokes that give it up easy. Always showed a lot of heart, and I'm really proud of them. Great.
Among the records that toppled today, South Australia became just the 5th team in first-class cricket anywhere in the world to win with a 4th innings score of more than 500.